So this is Totally Leathered, and we have a gentleman here today who will remain anonymous just at the moment. It's a surprise, an amazing guest, not too far from us, in fact, and he's also got an amazing name called Richard. Hello, Richard. How are you doing?
Hello, Richard. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Wow, what a funny name that is, isn't it? An amazing name.
Best
Brilliant
name in the world. Best name in the world.
King Richard, definitely. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. So, Richard Lister, what's your company? Tell us about your company name and where you're located.
Right. My name's Richard Lister. My company is YQ Vehicle Valeting. We're based in Pocklington. It's myself and my wife that run the company. And we specialise in valeting and detailing cars, caravans and motorhomes.
Very good. Obviously, that's in East Yorkshire, so everybody knows roughly where you are in the UK. So it's just north of Hull, south of York, sort of southeast of York, I suppose, isn't it?
Yes.
So so in that sort of location there, obviously, do you cover those sort of areas as well if people needed to? Do you do it mobile or do they come to your property or?
We do the valeting for cars mobile.
Yeah.
We generally go to people's houses, usually spend the whole day at somebody's house. Regular clients that have me fortnightly, monthly, and we do get the odd one-off cleans as well. But those are becoming more and more infrequent now. We're being to our 5th year this year. Well, we are in our 5th year. We'll have been trading 5 years come October.
Yeah.
But the caravans and motorhomes come to us in Pocklington. We have a little site just outside of Pocklington that we use as and when required. And we get people coming from all over the country with more motorhomes and caravans, it has to be said.
Yeah. So obviously it's sort of starting to, obviously the motorhomes, you're doing quite a lot of those.
Yeah, definitely. We're definitely getting more inquiries for motorhomes than the cars because, when we first started the valeting, nearly 5 years ago, as all valeters do, you have to do anything and everything just to get out there, being seen, and bringing income in. But as the business has progressed, and we saw an opportunity for caravans and motorhomes, and that side of the business is the part of the business that seems to be taking off more than the cars.
Quite a good niche to have, really, then.
Definitely. And that was one of the other reasons for doing it. I mean, when we set the car valeting business up, I'd recently been made redundant, and I'd always loved, looking after my own cars, whether it's my personal car or a company car. And I'm a bit like yourself, Richard. I'm very anal about cars in general. I cannot stand a crumb on the floor. It drives me insane. Yeah. And the local scratch wash up the road, and I used to drive past it and think, my God, there's people queuing around the block. Yeah, they're queuing around the block.
Yeah.
There's like, why are people? I was thinking to myself, well, at the back of the queue, by the time you've got to the front and got your car poorly washed, you probably sat there for an hour.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, there's something in this.
Yeah.
If people are that bothered, well, why don't I just create a company? Well, like you, and we'll come to you.
Yeah.
And that's where the name came from.
That's what that was going to be one of my next things. Is the name YQ? Where does it come from? So definitely. So
that is literally where it came from. Is I had been made redundant, and it was a case of, we need to do something. I need to bring an income in. I had no formal training in anything other than what I'd been made redundant from, which was print management. I used to buy print for Asda and government contracts and all sorts of stuff like that. And the years rolled on, and the buying of print became more and more difficult and more competitive. And I wasn't enjoying it, and eventually became redundant, and thought, right, okay, well, if I'm not going to start a business now, when am I going to do it? So it was sort of backed into a corner, and off we went, really.
Yeah, sort of like almost forced into it, but in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish I'd done it years ago, to be honest with you. I was stuck in a job that I really didn't like. The pay was okay, but I was traveling to Leeds every day, which isn't the shortest of journeys from where we are.
No, not from where you are. No, definitely.
If you get stuck in bank holiday Friday traffic, you can be like 2 or 3 hours by the time you get home again. Exactly. So, I was running the day, doing the day to day, and I'm sure there's lots of people out there that are stuck in a job that are thinking, I'm just doing this, but do I really enjoy it? Well, no, exactly. Not really, but it brings in the bacon. It it puts, food on the table and all the rest of it, keeps a roof over your head. And is that what life's all about? Well, no, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. So
no, it's definitely not what life's about. Life's about enjoying it. And it's, you only get one chance at it, and
you only get one stab at life, don't you? And
you do.
And as you say, we were backed into a corner, but things happen for a reason, and I truly believe that.
Yeah, definitely. I think things do happen for a reason, definitely. So obviously, one of the questions was, what did you do before that? So you've told us obviously what you did before that, and you've obviously said exactly why you got into the detailing side of it, which is really good. Obviously, that with this being a leather podcast, what made you get into leather? Not obviously in that way, obviously, but
obviously
doing the repairs and things.
Yeah.
We must not tell the wife about that one. Yeah.
No. The door is securely shut. She won't.
Good.
But yeah, in terms of the leather, as the cars, when you first start in the cars, you're getting some really nasty kiddie carriers, as everybody does. And as your name progresses and you get more known in the area, and the cars start to slowly get better and better. And we were finding that we were getting more and more cars with what we thought was leather interiors. Some are, as we know, are not all leather, some are vinyl, but we were getting more and more higher end cars and vehicles that we thought, right, okay, well, we need to do something. And a client of mine who is a regular client, great guy, and he'd not had a car long. It wasn't new, it wasn't brand new, but it was new to him. And I was cleaning the back of the car. It wasn't being very clean very well from the dealership, as they never are. And I was trying to get this horrible stuff out of the fine pinholes in the leather, and it just wouldn't come out. And anyway, I thought, well, I'll give the little steamer a go. So I had to go with that, and before you know it, disaster. The leather just seemed to, I thought, Christ, what? Basically, it looked like it had bubbled, and basically the colour just came off. I mean, I didn't know at the time it was the colour. I thought I destroyed the entire piece of leather. I thought, oh my God, this is going to cost an absolute fortune. What have I done? And I contacted you guys, and I sent you some pictures, and you said, well, it might be this, it might be that, but we need to come and see it, and it's going to cost this much to fix it. And I thought, if I could learn how to do this, there's, I need to learn how to do this. So I said to my client, look, I want to learn how to do this properly. I'm going to go on a course, and I'm going to learn about how to look after leather properly and repair it and all the rest of it. And that's when I booked myself on a course with you guys. My client was very good about it. He said, look, go on the course. It doesn't matter if it's now or 6 months' time, just get on the course and come back and sort it out. And I did that. And it was the first job I did. And I keep going in the car now and thinking, where is it again?
Where is it?
How is it? Where is it? I can't actually see where it is. I really have to look hard.
Look hard,
And just doing that one small job, and thought, I love this. This is a specialist area that there's lots of little valeters set up, especially in lockdown around our area. And this is a specialist area that we can boost our profile with, and also for the motorhomes. Motorhomes definitely have nice interiors as well. So that's how it happened, really, and why we decided we need to do something.
Certainly good. I mean, obviously with the motorhome side of it, obviously, as you say, there's a lot of interiors in there which are rather nice and very luxurious. And as you know, with the flooring side of it, our system can repair the vinyl flooring, which is obviously good with the system that we've got. So I mean, it sort of benefits in that side of it. So it's not just, but then obviously you've got boats and everything else. So I mean, it's again, you've got that very sort of specialist markets there,
Yeah.
so that you can obviously tap into, as well as obviously the motorhomes and the caravans and things. So, and there's an abundance of them, and there's even more of them coming on the market with what's obviously happened with lockdown.
There is. I mean, there seems to be definitely more, from what I see, more motorhomes than caravans
Yeah.
on the road now.
Yeah.
And the thing about, not being prudish or anything, but people with motorhomes have more money than people with caravans. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
They're real. The new ones start from 60 grand and go up to whatever.
No, I've looked at them before, and it's just impossible for me to buy one, and it's why I had a caravan. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, if you buy a second-hand motorhome, you're still looking at a reasonable one, 30 plus grand, are you? And it might be 10 plus years old.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, there's definitely a market there for it, and we that's where we're getting our inquiries from. As I said before, Kathleen's had an inquiry today from Cumbria. We get people from as far as Newcastle coming to us, and they just leave it with us for the day, and they go off into York, or they'll have a walk around the Yorkshire Wolds, and they come back and they've got a sparkly motorhome that's all waxed and protected, and they take it away happy again. And it's like servicing your car. They come once a year and they do that.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Mostly with motorhome people, they are people that enjoy the outside life anyway, so they're not adverse to sort of going off having a wander, obviously weather permitting. And it's York, as you say, is not too far down the road, up the road. It's a great location for them to go and spend the day there. Bus up the road, taxi or whatever. Or even dropping them off. It's a good location, for anybody to come to, isn't it?
Absolutely,
you're in an ideal area. I mean, to be fair, even getting out to the coast to Bridlington and stuff, I suppose, isn't a million miles away either.
No, we have people that come, from the East Coast as well, and bring it through. So it's literally, Hull, East Coast, and North Yorkshire, and up to as far as Newcastle.
Yeah.
And that's where the inquiries are really being generated. But yeah, I mean, I suppose the other reason maybe we're not getting the car inquiries we were is because when we first started, we were doing anything and everything, and we've had to say, look, can't do that anymore.
Yep.
We basically just do a full day, and we come to your house and we'll spend the time detailing your cars. I mean, when we talk about detailing, and I see detailing as valeting a car to an exceptional standard. It's not just. I mean, people think detailing is just machine polishing and all that. It's not. I don't think. I think it's detailing that car to make sure that it's better than when it came out of the showroom.
Yeah.
In terms of the interior and the exterior. And it all just depends on how much you want to spend on the vehicle.
Yeah, definitely. It is about all the finer details. It's not just. Detailing isn't just about machine polishing, as you say, or paint correction. It is about everything. It's the whole package. It's how far you go, and it's like. When we've done cars, people look at us sometimes and they think we're absolutely crazy when we're cleaning into the corner of a rear window with a cotton bud.
Yeah.
And they think we're absolutely mad. And they're like, but you can't see it. But I've seen dirt down there and I need to get that out. And
it's there.
We know it's there. That's the thing, because we're looking at all these little sort of nooks and crannies on the car, and we're finding it. And the customers, even the customers, like, I really don't think that's necessary. It is. That's what you paid for. That's what we're doing. That's what you get. That's the difference between us and scratch and shine down the road. That is the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are some great mobile valeting guys out there that do a fantastic job, but that isn't the level that they go to. And the level we go to and like you go to is totally different to what I just call a standard sort of car valeter. And they're in different leagues. To car valeters to detailers are two totally different sort of leagues.
Yeah.
And obviously there's organizations out there that you can become bodies of, and one thing and another. When you're in the sort of detailing side of things, which is obviously sort of totally different to obviously the leather side of it. But obviously with the leather restoration, what do you find to be the sort of most interesting part of the process?
I think in terms of the process itself is basically creating that color so that you can't see a difference. I mean, that just amazes me how you can mix a few standard colors together from the app, and you can play about with it a bit and it just disappears, and that is an amazing part. I mean, yeah, it takes some fine tuning, and you still have to practice it. It's not going to happen straight away, and it certainly didn't happen for me straight away. But you've got to persevere. I mean, you know, when I first did the first couple of jobs, recoloring jobs, and it drives you around the bend sometimes.
Yeah, it does.
And,
it's the hardest part, without a doubt.
And you know, my wife said, "Well, you know, this is time consuming." And I said, "Yes, but if you can crack it and you stick at it, then eventually you go, right, why did I find that so hard in the first place? It's just practice, like anything else."
Yeah.
And and it's like anything, isn't it? If you give up at the first hurdle, then you'll never get anywhere.
You'll never get anywhere. No, and anything that's good in life is not easy. It's as simple as that.
No, definitely not.
And if being in business was easy, everybody in the country would have a business. There wouldn't be anybody employed by anybody. You know, we would all have. Everybody would have a business if being in business was that easy. Which, you know, obviously being in business isn't easy. I mean, how have you found the first 5 years? I mean, there's got to have been ups and downs. Times where you're probably thinking, Christ, I've had enough. I mean, I've been here for 30 years in business. I still think now I've had enough, to be honest. Some days it's terrible.
Well, in the mobile valeting game, you know, the worst thing is coping with the weather
conditions.
You know, the weather is, in this country, as you know, today it's boiling hot. No good. You know, got a black car to clean. It's like, Jesus Christ, I've got to keep going around and wetting it and trying to dry panels at a time. And then you get to the winter, and it's just horrendous, you know. And even if you've got a good valeting gazebo, you know, in a strong wind, you don't want that up. You know, you're going to damage somebody's car. So you're coping with everything. Everything gets thrown at you. You're combing, and you're either sopping wet through, or you're dripping through with sweat. Why am I doing this? But you do it because you love it. You do it because it's your passion, and you enjoy the end result, and the client going, wow, look at what you've done to my car, and that's what it's all about. So, you know, if you don't have a passion for it, forget it. Don't even start doing it, because it's not. People think it's easy money, and it's not. It's not easy money. It's really, really difficult to do properly.
Yeah, it is a difficult job to do. It's the same with anything. I mean, it's, you know, the leather is, again, it's, if you're going to do it properly, it is practice, especially with the color mixing. We all know it's the hardest part. It's one of the reasons why we obviously invented our app. You know, and the color scanner and things. You know, they're not designed to obviously get you a color 100% correct. Some of them are 100%. It's, you know, again, it's how people use that tool as well. But it gets you 90% of the way there. But then you must just stick to those colors that it tells you in that app, instead of straying away and trying to use other colors to make that color right. Because that's when it obviously then becomes very difficult, you know, and the color starts going off the scales. You know, there are obviously aids there to do that, but I mean, it's, you know, there's many things. I mean, from when we first began, I mean, Christ, I mean, it's like we had to do things the way we've done them, and it's only in the last sort of 3 years that we've had a color scanner and an app, only purely and simply because I think it's almost like social media has sort of made people sort of become a lazy society in effect, and stop them researching things, and so we've had to sort of do it all for them, rather than them sort of doing it how I had to do it, which is the hard way, and learn color mixing.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm glad I did, and I would always want everybody to learn the hard way and always learn color mixing, because you know, the app is fine, but I mean, you will get phones that go down, phones can run out, you know, the app can crash, you know, you might not have data, so it can't send data from the scanner to the phone, and so on and so forth. These things can happen, so you've got to know how to color mix. So it's always essential that you do learn that skill as well, and it's something we always encourage people to learn anyway.
Definitely. No, I mean, again, going back to my previous job, I mean, in the print industry, I spent many an hour stood on a printing press, and you know, you've got your cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, and that's it. And it's the guy on the press is pressing all these different buttons, just tweaking it and putting the black up a bit, and, you know, cyan, just to get the end result that the client wants. And it's just the similar process in the leather colouring. You know, there's lots of tweaking you've got to do, and it is frustrating. I mean, the guys might start rolling the press on hour 1, and you still be there 6 hours later, and they're still messing about with it,
Yeah.
And there's a million and so copies, gone through the printing press by that.
Yeah.
But that's how it works.
Yeah, exactly. It's a similar process to the leather. It's the same sort of thing. And I mean, that's the beauty with it. I mean, with the printing press, once they're printed, they scrap them. At least when you've coloured, you can just take the colour off and start again. So it's, which is what I love about the whole job. If you do get it wrong and you do make a balls up of it, at least you can strip it off and start again.
Absolutely.
Which is what I love about it. I mean, if you go through the paint on a car, it's a paint job. It's not something you can correct yourself, unless you've got a full oven and full spraying facilities with a full spray booth. So it's, on that sort of side of it, it's a great position to be in. And it's not just leather. I mean, you've got all your fake leathers, all your vinyls and everything else, and your flooring, that can all be corrected. And it's, again, as we do all the wood side of it and the marble and granite, and it's all sort of interchangeable products as well with all of those sort of sectors that that we do. And again, a lot of them are in motorhomes, caravans, and everywhere else. Obviously talking about motorhomes and things. Have you ever thought about things like lodges and things on holiday parks?
Yeah, I mean, I am wanting to learn about the vinyl side, the surface restoration for tops, worktops, and granites, and all that kind of stuff. Because there's some really, really nice lodges that are being put up, and again, it's all because of lockdown and people thinking, well, I'll holiday in this country, or I'll buy one and rent it out, and there's a lot of that going on. And and you know yourself, you put a chip in a piece of granite, rather than replace the whole piece of granite, it's going to cost you thousands and thousands of pounds. If you can repair it for a couple £100 and you don't even see the difference, then there's a market there. So that's something else we want to come and learn about with you guys, and expand the business with.
It's certainly something we can do anyway. That's not a problem. So obviously with the leather restoration side of it, I think we've maybe answered this one, but what do you find the most difficult part of restoration?
Well, it has to be the colouring. Again, it's going back to that. It's the most interesting part, but it's also the most frustrating part. I mean, I think everybody finds the colouring really frustrating, but you just, as I said before, you've just got to stick at it and not give up. Don't give up, because and just keep practicing at home, and then you'll think, I've got it now. I understand what I'm doing. I mean, I use the app. Use the colours within that, and then if it's still not how I want it, I'll always revert to the colour wheel and think, okay, well, what do I need to do to offset that red or that blue, or what do I, and use the tools that are available.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it is. It's rather than becoming frustrated and just sort of chucking the tools down, you've got to use the resources in front of you. They're there for a reason, and it's like anything. It's like being in business. You got to plan your business, and if you don't plan that repair that you're going to do, then you're going to plan to fail. It's very, very simple. And you don't want to fail. You want to plan to succeed at the end of the day. And it's failing isn't an option. I mean, it's like I always said, my favorite saying is the word impossible quite clearly spells I'm possible, and you must never ever forget that. And it's a saying I've always had, and the word itself says I'm possible, and so it isn't impossible. It's just how determined you are to succeed, and that's what makes the difference. And it is being determined to succeed, which makes the difference between somebody winning and failing at the end of the day, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And the clients that we have, that they see the effort that you put in, and that's why they have us back on a regular basis, and they're prepared to spend a decent amount of money with us every month, because they don't have the time to look after their pride and joy. They're too busy running a business, and the last thing I want to do at a weekend is spend all Saturday or all Sunday cleaning it. So as long as you can do something better than somebody else can, you'll always be busy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's about doing something better, and it's not always about doing a better price, but it's about providing a better service.
Yeah,
whether that's in how you do that repair or clean that car, or about how you talk to that client. If you are a more approachable, more likable person, then somebody's going to do business with you. And that's what's going to be a winning sort of streak for you, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I brought Catherine into the business. I mean,
Yep.
she didn't start the business straight away. She came on board. She'd been working at our local Sainsbury's, and said, there's no point you working there till 2 o'clock in the morning. I need somebody to deal with the emails, answer the phone, do the accounts, all the things that as you know, running a business is not just doing the job; it's everything behind the scenes, and that I used to be coming in after after a day's worth of work and thinking, Christ, I've got to reply to all those emails. I've got to do this, do that, and before you know it, it's 11 o'clock and it's time for bed again, and that's no way to live. But if that can be done during the daytime by somebody else. You've got more free time, and it's paid dividends because Catherine comes from a customer service background, a bit like myself. So she understands clients. She used to work at Portakabin, and she was dealing with big clients on a regular basis. It's a partnership that works perfectly for us, and that's why people are willing to come back to us on an annual or monthly or whatever basis, because they know that Catherine's on the end of the phone and Richard's going to turn up and he's going to do an amazing job.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing there, you've just jogged my memory, which is another good route for you, Portakabins. Yeah, we've done quite a lot of repairs in portable buildings, and that's another avenue that I would highly suggest you sort of looking at, especially around Pocklington and stuff like that, where you've got a lot of the Portakabin people around there. Doing different sort of Portakabin type buildings going all over the world. Again, it's a good industry sector to get into because they don't just do Portakabins. Obviously, a lot of them are sort of building those pods for hotels and stuff like that as well. So, I mean, it's it's a good market sort of to get into because again, some of these Portakabins are very exclusive offices at the end of the day, or schools or anything, and they all get damaged. Being obviously erected and things and having all things put inside them, even though they're going partly built, but again, there, with your wife being there before, it's you've almost got a door open there, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've never thought about that. So a good avenue to think about.
Well, yeah, and that's what's good about these. You sort of freely talk there, and all of a sudden I saw Kaching and thought there's another avenue to earn some money from, and it's something that you never sort of think about before. And it's just because you're freely talking, it's that comes out, and that's what this is about. And it's about learning and helping people, and hopefully it'll get you something. You never know. It's worth a shot.
No, absolutely.
With her working there, she'll know the right people to talk to, and hopefully how to sort of bypass some of the guys at the beginning that are sort of like stopping you from getting to the people that you want to talk to. So
no, that's
help.
Yeah.
So obviously, what do you do in your spare time? What hobbies do you have? We all have spare time. We all have hobbies.
Well, would you believe I like cleaning my car?
Right. Okay.
I know it's really sad. I know, but I mean, I do. I mean, we have 3 cars now.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not only got the van, which is spotless all the time. I cannot understand why you see valeters driving around and they've got a mucky van. It's like, even in the middle of winter, my van is spotless. I just don't understand that. And yeah, my son's just got a car, and he's youngsters these days. God, dragging him out of bed, let alone getting him to clean the car. I've got no chance. So I'm not having a dirty car in the driveway, so that gets cleaned, and ours gets cleaned. So that takes up usually at least one day in the week.
Yep.
I do love my Formula One, I have to say. I do love watching the Formula One. Again, car related. I know it's really boring going around in circles, some people say, but I love it.
No, I like Formula One. I actually want to go to actually see them live, but it's even like I think the cheap seats is £1,000 a ticket, but I'm saving and I'm going to go one day, and it's once I've saved enough money, I will go and we'll get a cheap seat, and I'm going to go and I'm going to do it because I'll probably do it once and I won't want to do it again because I've done it. It's off the bucket list, and I've sort of ticked that bucket list, and it's something I've always wanted to do is to go to the Formula One. I've never done it, but I am going to go one day.
Well, which track would you go to?
I don't know. That's the big problem. I think I'd have to take the cheap seat and go to one here in England. I think
they're not cheap though, Richard. They're not.
No, I know. Still £1,000 each. That's the thing. That's what I mean. It's flying abroad as well. Bloody hell, we'll be into many thousands. That's why I'm saying I'm gonna have to drive down, and we'll take the cheap seats down south and do it that way.
Well, I'll tell you where I would like to go. I'd like to go to Spa. I'd like to sit up on the hill and watch them race up the hill.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah, be a good
you
one.
know, and you know, maybe a bit, well, camping. I don't know if I could persuade Catherine to camp, but I might have to go on my own.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
not a camper.
no, it's all right. I mean, Caroline's not really a camper, but she's done it a few times. So when I've decided to go camping in the middle of a field at car shows and things, it's just when you get drunks around and they end up falling over your tent and you end up with someone on top of you that you don't want on top of you and everything else. So it's
Yeah.
So and then the cow sticks its head through the door and snorts at you, and it's just like the adverts. It can be almost like a carry-on movie sometimes.
Oh, definitely. We
it's all part of it.
Oh yeah, many a camping holiday. I remember in the New Forest when I was much smaller.
Yeah.
And you know, bloody pony sticking its nose through the tent. It's like,
yeah.
You know, that's all that going on. It's like it's quite
around.
But yeah, it's just funny. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, certainly plenty of them around in the New Forest, that's for sure. Almost like old stamping ground for me, to be fair.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, obviously, with the business, are you planning on ever giving up the mobile side of it and just going totally factory based, or is that something you would never do?
It's always there in the background, but it all comes down to, you know, is there a big enough demand for it? And if there was a demand for it at all, I think it would have to be the motorhomes.
Yep.
Because unfortunately, I mean, I think if you're not really established as a detailer, machine polisher, paint correction, you've got your own unit. I think for anybody starting up now doing that, I think it's really difficult.
Yes.
I think there's just too many people that are just doing it too cheap.
Yeah.
So that's why we wanted to specialise in another area that somebody else wasn't doing, which is why the motorhomes and caravans came about. And I say that side of the business seems to be where it's taking us, and it's how we expand that side of the business more. You know, I'll still keep the existing car clients that I've got, because you know that's bread and butter work. That's keeping money coming in every month, and we'll see where that takes the next 5 years. But it's developing, as you say, the lodges, learning how to do the surface restoration, the cabins and the motorhomes, and applying the leather as well, and seeing where we can take the leather side of the business, and doing more specialist stuff, because I think that's what it's all about these days. It's, if you specialise, you've got to specialise. You know, there's no point being a jack of all and master of none. If you can specialise and differentiate yourself from everybody else out there, then I think that's what we need to do.
Yeah, certainly doing the surface restoration side of it is certainly a good sort of market. You know, it takes you into sort of many different sectors. That's the thing, but it's the same surface in many different sectors. So it opens the door, rather than just a car. It opens the doors to many different sort of categories that you would have never have attempted to get into with a car. That's the thing. So I mean, you get into caravans quite easily. You know, lodges, motorhomes, you know, chalet parks, hotels, restaurants. You know, the list goes on and on and on. Banks, offices. They've all got surfaces that need repair, haven't they? At the end of the day, and
absolutely,
it's a great sort of market to be involved with the sort of surface technician repair side of it. So I mean, it's one of the reasons why we're sort of doing more and more sort of surface technician courses as well. So and obviously all the sort of UPVC and the granite and the marble and that sort of side of it, we're going to be ramping that up over the next few months as well. So I mean, it's something that you know you will obviously get to know about, because we're going to be starting to launch those courses again, even though we've done them, but we put them off because of COVID, because we're concentrating on the leather. But now we've sort of got not really out of COVID, but we're sort of getting back to normal, whatever normal is. And we're going to sort of get those ramped back up again to get those going again, which would be quite good. We've got a queue of people at the moment wanting to take those courses, literally book full. So all over the country. So it's something that people are very, very, very interested in.
No, absolutely. And another reason that, you know, going down that route is it's when the weather is really poor in the winter, and going back to the mobile thing, there's nothing worse than being out when it's, you know, you can't work when it's snowing or whatever. But if you can go to a lodge, you can still work inside.
Exactly.
Then you know you're still able to you know,
earn money.
earn money and good money.
Yes,
Not
exactly.
just thinking, well, I'll go and do what I can today before I get rained off or snowed off or
Exactly.
whatever else.
Yeah.
So it's being able to bring the right money that's right for a business, because at the end of the day, we've all got to make it work, or there's no point being in business.
No, exactly. That's the whole idea of it. We're all there to make money at the end of the day. Unbeknown to some people, we are actually there to make money. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's not about being greedy. It's about making money. And that's what people go into business for, whether that's a small amount of money or billions. We're all there to make money. And, everybody's dream is always to make millions and millions. And it's, over the years, you probably do. But I mean, it's not collectively there all at the same time, unfortunately.
I also think with the surface restoration, because I'm going back to the valeting side, and people have, we're booked up until we're taking bookings for November. That's how busy we are.
That's good.
And people have always said to me, why don't you take somebody else on? And the problem is, we're taking somebody else on is that if they go out to a job and they make a balls of it, it's just all comes back on you. And some of these cars are expensive vehicles.
Exactly.
And do I really need the hassle?
That risk.
No, I think I'd rather have a day off, to be honest with you. I'd rather have a holiday now and again, because we've rarely taken much of a holiday in the last 5 years. And I've been working every bank holiday I think God sends, and we're getting to the point now where we think, well, no, we don't need to do that anymore. We can have the odd holiday now and again. But with surface restoration, I do think that's something where, if I did learn that technique, that's something that I think you could train somebody else to do, and bring somebody else on board. I think it's a bit more pliable with a member of staff than valeting is.
I've always found that. I think with the detailing and valeting side of it, I've always found it hard to get somebody else to do what I do. Whereas with the sort of surface restoration side of it, I've always found it easier to get someone to do and to train them to do that. Whereas with the detailing side of it, I think you've got to have a keen eye for cars. You've got to have that passion for the motor vehicles. If you haven't got that passion for cars, you're never going to cut it as a detailer, because you've got to love cars. And if you don't love them, you ain't going to cut it. You're not going to do it as good as you or I are, or anything like that. It's very, very simple. And that's what I found with people that haven't got that passion for vehicles. And for those guys that just think it's a car, so what? That's when the mistakes become a problem. That's when that becomes a problem, because they're going to make mistakes, because then they're going to cut corners. Your name's on the line. Customers are going to complain. So then you've got the staff to deal with and the customer's complaint to deal with. You're then going to have to go out and do that, and then also do the work that you were going to go and do, but you couldn't do because you've got to go out and correct the problem.
And then they might not keep you because you're using somebody else. Exactly. So you've lost on all counts.
So you've lost all accounts. Yeah, exactly. And I think with the car setup, you've got to find somebody that's as passionate about cars as what you are. And that is sometimes extremely difficult to do.
I think in this, going back to the teenagers, I've got 2 teenagers, and I've said to them many times, just come out and help me, help me. But they're not bothered. They're really not bothered. They'd rather, doing this all day on the bloody mobile phone. It's like, oh my God, I'll pay you. But they're not interested. And I think there's a lot of apathy out there with, I don't know what it is, Richard, but it's, maybe that's why I'm so busy. Maybe, I don't know.
Yes, social media, isn't it? It's it has a lot of good and it has a lot of bad as well, and it's a strange one. It's one of the reasons why we set up the Detailers Forum, relaunched the Detailers Forum again, and it's there. Get on there and use it. Post up pictures of your cars, and it is it may be a bit awkward to use it because it's not as easy as social media, but I think once it becomes habit, you'll find it a lot easier. And the good thing with it is it's free advertising. It's driving traffic to your website, because the good thing with the Detailers Forum is we don't mind you putting links on there to your website, whereas a lot of forums out there, they will not allow that. We don't mind you doing that because that's the whole idea of it. We're not here. It's not a money machine for us. It's a money machine, as in we're paying to have this machine. We're not earning money from it. And what we're doing is allowing people to earn money from it by using it as a marketing tool for their business. So, do go and use it. Detailersforum.com. Sorry for the free plug. But it is there. Do go and use it. It was the original detailing forum in the UK. It was the first one ever to launch in the UK when it was first launched. And we've not had it for a few years because of social media, but we've brought it back because a lot of people are complaining about the problems with social media, with people bullying. And it's so easy for someone just to go on there and become a keyboard warrior with it. And, it's almost become a nasty platform in a lot of cases. And it's, we find that things like Instagram are a lot better for that because you don't get that sort of nasty side that you do on like Facebook and things. Do you find that it's sort of common on Facebook where you sort of get like a lot of backbiting sort of thing, or is it not something you get involved with forums on there? I mean, we've left them because of it.
Yeah, there's a particular forum that I'm a member of, and since doing the leather repair course and understanding what you should and shouldn't do, I've often made comments on there saying it's leather related, saying no, you don't want to use a magic sponge, and you don't want to do this, and you don't want to do that, and people just said, well, it's all right, it's fine. I've been doing it for years. It's fine. Nothing wrong with it. Get some G101 on there, some multi-purpose cleaner, and get a steamer on it. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the thing with even with people in nice cars. Sometimes you can tell people to you blue in the face. You don't want to take it up the road and get it washed there because you're going to destroy your car.
Exactly.
But some people just do not listen.
They don't.
They either think, well, it's just a car, it's leased, I'll have another one in 2 years and it'll be brand new anyway. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I think it's it's this apathy really almost of I've always done it, so what's wrong with it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is a strange one. I don't know whether it's an age thing where people just think it's so easy to sort of almost sort of be arrogant on the social media platform. But then when you see them in person, they're as nice as pie, and they just sort of almost forget about what they told you 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
On a post, and it's really, really strange, and it's obviously one of the reasons why we've set up the podcasting to help people. And obviously the Detailers Forum to help people is to help them have a forum and a platform that is friendly, that's free, where you don't get any of this bitching and backbiting and stabbing in the back and everything else sort of happening, and that you can use freely without the worry of someone jumping on you and saying you're an idiot because you don't know what you're talking about. We get it. After 30 odd years of being in business, apparently we don't know what we're talking about. And they're going to educate me, and I don't know what certain things are or color losses, and I have no idea that you can use a magic eraser, you can use these scrubber dubber sponge things, all these sort of things. You can use them and you can't, and we get shouted down because we've proven you can't, and they're damaging, and apparently we don't know what we're talking about because we know nothing. And it's just, I just don't want to be part of those sort of platforms because it's not worth it to anybody. It doesn't help anybody. We want to try to help people, which is what we're there for. And that doesn't help anybody because it's wrong information. No. And then if a customer tries it, who's going to pay for the damage on their car? The person that said, go ahead and do it, or the forum that allowed it to happen.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And, I do sit back and I do just watch some of the comments now instead of getting involved. And even though I've seen some on motorhomes and particular and what they're using to clean them with, and I just think, God, that vehicle is going to be this. I mean, the surfaces on a motorhome are not the same as a car.
So delicate,
and you have to be so careful. You can't. And there's some guy on the same forum today saying, right, I want to take some decals off this vehicle. I've been asked to take, how much do I charge? And they say, oh, well, a couple £100 for that, mate, as it's always mate or pal or bud or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
And one guy actually sensibly said, well, you do realise if you take those decals off, you will have a white patch under there and you will not be able to take that off.
Yeah.
And he says, well, I'll just buff it off. No, you can't. You can't buff it off. No. Once it's gone white underneath, you will need an exact replica of that decal you've just taken off, because otherwise you'll see it. You'll see a ghosting effect. Yeah. And I was almost ready to type and thought, no, just stay off. Just stay out of it. Just stay out of it. Because they know that is my specialist area, and I've seen this 1,000 times. It's like, just stay out of it.
Yeah.
You know, let them come when they've cocked it up.
Yeah.
They'll be ringing me.
Yeah, asking for
You know,
advice.
the customer will be ringing
exactly.
me.
The
saying,
customer will be ringing you. Yeah.
yeah.
It always makes me laugh though. If someone like that is maybe a valeter is actually asking how much to charge, and they're a professional valeter.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm always mystified by that, and it's like how, surely you must know when you're in business what you're charging for something.
Yeah.
And
how much do you want
to go and ask the audience?
How much do you want for your time, and how much are your overheads, your material costs, and everything else? So it's not difficult, is it?
It doesn't matter what Joe Bloggs down the road is charging or Fred up the road. It's how much is your time? How much do you charge for your time? How much traveling do you have to do? What are your materials? That's your price. At the end.
But
how do you value your time?
And that is the problem. At the moment, it seems to be a race to the bottom, and that's really why I want to move the business. I'm not bothered about getting car inquiries anymore, because I'm really not interested about cleaning some kiddie carrier that's never been touched for the last 10 years. I'm not interested. I'll look after cars that I look after on a regular basis, and I know they're being cleaned to the highest of standards. And if somebody else wants their car cleaned to the highest standards, fine. But we're moving away from that. It's just not something that we need to do anymore, and I don't want to do anymore, to be honest. There's nothing worse than turning up at somebody's house and they've booked you for a particular service, and you open the car door and you think, Christ, I can't do that for that. This is going to take me all day, is this? What, you booked me in for 3 hours? No. Yeah. There's no way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, been there, done that.
I don't need that anymore. I don't need that anymore. And that's why we've gone to a full day service, because if anybody, I say, if I've never seen a car before, it will take me all day just to get that car looking something like, or I can take it to another level that it's not already on. When we first started, the amount of everybody goes for the cheapest service. I don't know what you found when everybody goes for the cheapest service. So it's a mini. You've got your exec valet. You've got a standard clean in and out. You've got your mini valet. What does everybody go for? They go for the mini valet.
So you expect a full one.
So you rock up and you open it and you think, oh my God. That, in terms of what advice I would give anybody who's thinking about starting a valeting business is, charge by the hour. Don't charge by the valet type, because if you've got a valet type, everybody will always go for the cheapest option. You charge by your time, and if possible, go and look at the car before you even turn up on the day, because you just don't know what you're going to end up with.
It's surprising what you can get. I've seen all sorts of unscrupulous things in vehicles. Being expected to pick them up and deal with them, and there's absolutely no way I'm picking up things that I've seen in cars, used condoms, tampons, and everything else. And
I've not had anything like that, but
I'm not getting there and picking up stuff like that. I've seen all sorts, and it's unreal.
That's obviously the difference between York and Hull. Maybe.
Yes. And this was from York, not Hull. no, this was. I can't remember. It was. Around East Yorkshire somewhere, but Christ, we've had all sorts in cars. And it's just, it's
horrendous. I don't know how people leave it. Why anybody would want to leave a car for that long?
I've even had a dead rat in a car, and the customer couldn't work out why their car was smelling.
Okay.
And we found a dead rat under the seat, and it's like,
no.
Did you not even attempt to look under the seat?
No.
Oh no! I just wondered where the smell was coming from. It's like, I'd have been looking under the seat, and it's
God.
And some of these things you get in cars, and customers just like, oh, okay, I'll get it moved for you. Sorry, you didn't realise it was a problem.
So come on, let's have a like a top trumps of worst cars. What is the worst car you've turned up to, and what was it like?
I think the worst one I've turned up to.
Can you even remember? Have you erased it from your memory? Because I erase a lot from my memory, but go on.
No, I haven't. There's been quite a few that I've turned up to that are quite bad. There was one that I turned up to, and it physically had grass growing in the boot.
Right. Okay.
It was a farmer's car, and he said it wants its yearly valet. My normal valeter is away. And once it's yearly valet, because it's time to change, and I want to take it in and get the best price I can get for it before I take it in and exchange it for my new Land Rover. So can you come and give it a quick spruce up? He's normally only here for a few hours. No problem. Like we say, small valet. And I got there and I opened the back door, and it was like a full lawn in the boot area.
Unbelievable.
And all under the seats, there was grass seed growing. And it was just, obviously, you can imagine it's grass seed. It's literally, the roots have gone through the carpet. And it was just horrendous. It was like having a full-blown lawn. I almost got the scissors out and started trimming it and said, there you go, your lawn is cut, sir. It was terrible. And left him to it.
I have seen some of those advertising cars that have got grass on the outside. Have you ever seen one of those?
No, I saw one the other day, actually, parked up. But no, I think with that particular one, I got there, I think it was in summertime. I got there at 7 a.m. I think I left at 7 at night, and I had to go back the next day at 7. And I think I left about 4 in the afternoon the following day for an £85 job.
God. Yeah, we've all been there, Richard.
Honoured the price, and I'll never do that again.
And that's the problem when you going back to having a set price, and you just feel as though whatever you turn up to, you've just got to do the best you can with it, because you don't want to upset anybody and turn around and say, well, I can't do it for that, and it's going to cost twice as much, because you're starting a business and you just want to get as much feedback and as much work as you can. But
exactly. Yep.
God, I mean, the worst one I turned up to again, farmer's vehicle. It's always farmers' vehicles. I refuse to do farmers' vehicles now. If anybody rings up with a builder's van, a farmer's vehicle, or anything trade related, it's like, no. But I know a man who can up the road, and there is somebody who does it. Yeah. But I turned up to it, and it had I think it had cow pats in the footwells.
Jesus Christ.
You know.
Yeah.
And I was trying to clean do the best I could with it. I mean, it was a horrible Skoda Octavia. It was disgusting. And the front, and I was playing about, and some bloody syringes in there. And I said to the lady, do you realise there's some syringes in the front of your car that I've nearly pricked my finger on? And she says, oh yeah, those are for injecting the sheep. Sorry, I didn't take them out. Jeez, I was like, oh God. Yeah. So that was the worst one I had. And cow pats, syringes, and I just don't do farmers' vehicles. But again, you can't get any satisfaction from cleaning a farmer's vehicle because they're always so horrible.
Oh yeah, I know.
They are. It's kiddie carriers as well. They're horrible. I mean, you're just trying to find your way to the carpet. That's what you're trying to look for. You're trying to look for the carpet. Yep. There's there somewhere. I just can't see it yet, but I'm going to keep digging. And so anybody out there wants to start and thinking of starting up, do it by the hour. Don't do it by the valet, because you are just asking for it. And also ask for a deposit. How many times have you booked somebody in, and then at the last minute they've said
cancelled? The
car's had to go in the garage, or my mother-in-law's had to use it, or I forgot, I'm in town with my mates having a drink. I had that one. She forgot she was in York having a drink with her mates.
Jesus.
It's like, and I'm halfway to Market Wheaton, and Catherine says, you better come back. I says, why? She says, well, she's in York. What was she in York for? She's having a drink. What?
Christ. Well, I've got a better one than that. We drove, after arranging with a customer to drive to the other side of London, to the south side of London, to do a job. We got down there, stayed the night, rang the lady the following morning to say, we will be with you in 20 minutes. Car's not here. I beg your pardon. Car's in the garage. It's having its MOT today. Oh. When's the car's MOT due? In another 2 weeks' time. But I've booked you in, and we rang you yesterday to say we'd be with you tomorrow, and I'm now ringing you now to say I'm going to be with you in half an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. What?
Yeah.
So at 5 o'clock last night, you book a car in for an MOT after I rang you at 5 o'clock, and you forget between 5 o'clock and 7:30 to 7:45 in the morning.
So it's not like you hadn't reminded the night before.
No, she literally reminded the night before.
God.
And
that's horrendous.
But yeah. So we've had that one. So yeah. So definitely take deposits. But
was that before you were taking deposits then, or were you? Yeah. I mean, again,
it's
that
one
was
of the main reasons why we did it. We took deposits because it's just not worth it, because that was a long trek. You know, there was 2 people driven all the way to London.
Yeah.
You know, we went down and it was to the south side. So you're talking like 4 or 5 hours with a stop, 5.5 hours with a break. Got down there, hotel stay, 100 quid, 150 quid in diesel, 2 people's wages for a whole day, and then we had to turn around and drive back. So we were literally, you know, burnt fingers big time. And it was that when we said, right, that's it.
Yeah.
Deposits, everybody, no matter what it is, you're paying a deposit. If you want the job doing, you'll get it done. If you don't, then we know you're a time waster.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And you know, when we decided to start taking deposits after a few instances like that, people just not turning up or cancelling and leaving us without work. And I said to Catherine, I said, that's it. We are taking deposits. I've had
your
enough of
livelihood.
this. It's my livelihood. It's our business. We can't go on like this.
No.
And you know, we take a minimum deposit now. It's a 50 quid minimum deposit. It don't matter what it is, it's 50 quid. Well, you know, and I've never had anybody cancel on me now. Never had a cancellation.
I mean, you sort of look at the flip side, don't you? And if you were, an employer, and you sort of turn around to your employee and said, "Sorry, guys, but today I don't want you in, and you're not going to get paid either." Do you think they would last with you? Do you think they'd be rather annoyed? I think they'd be pretty pissed, to be honest.
Yeah. But that is that's the apathy of when you have a job and you get paid every month and it just goes into the bank and you don't need to worry about it, and you know, you can sit in the office and have your cups of teas all day and all the rest of it. It's a different world when you're on your own business. You're on it, you're thinking about it 24/7. Even when you're sleeping, you're dreaming about it and how you can improve things, or what, you know, and that's because you're passionate about it.
Exactly.
That's how we are. And and I certainly, you know, I mean, when I used to work in an office in Leeds, and there was this little guy came round and he was washing the cars outside and doing all that kind of carry on doing it for a tenner, and I didn't fully appreciate then how hard that job was. I just saw him and thought, oh, he's clean, he's washing a car and he's fucking it out. Anyway, I thought, I think it was one Friday, and I thought, I can't be bothered to do the car this weekend. I'll get him to do it. He seems all right. I'll get him to do it. It's only 12 quid. I'll get him to do it. Anyway, it was pitch black. It was a November evening. So by the time I got to the car at 5 o'clock, it was like I couldn't see anything. There was, you know, couldn't see absolutely nothing. I couldn't tell you whether he'd done a good job or not, to be honest with you. And it was pissing it down. So it was a waste of time getting him to do it. But anyway, got in the car, turned the key. The rev counter went from, you know, it was off the scale. I said, Jesus, turn the key off. What's going on? What's going on? Like, turn it on again, same again. Rev counter went right over. Turn it off. Like, something wrong here. Anyway, I looked at the mat. When he'd done it that quickly, he'd vacked the mat, put it back in, and it'd been stuck against the accelerator.
Oh my God.
So he'd not even, you know, had the consideration to think, right, I need to make it, you know, right, that's fine. Yeah, it's all safe and everything. It's a good job we weren't in gear. I would have gone through the through the office.
Through the offices, yeah. That'd have been fun.
You know, but yeah, you don't appreciate, you see something like that and thought, oh, I can do that. But you've got to do it to a particular standard. You've got to do it. You've got to be absolutely anal about it. Otherwise, there's no point. And it's the same with the process, and it's the same with anything that you get involved in. But we take deposits, and as I say, we've never had a cancellation since doing that. Apart from did have one cancellation last week with a caravan, but bless him, it wasn't his fault, and we filled the job because we've got people stacking up, so we just filled it. But he was bringing his caravan from Driffield, and I says, well, can I bring it the night before? I said, yeah, you can bring it the night before and put it in this, you know, the unit we use and everything, and just leave it with us and blah blah blah. Anyway, he rung us and he says, my tyres exploded, coming over the tops, and it's basically the only thing that's left is the nuts on the wheel, and everything else is gone. And I think he's basically destroyed the side of his caravan. So bless him. But you know, that's, touch wood, that's the only cancellation we've had in 3 years
Yeah.
since taking
Yeah.
deposits.
Yeah.
So it works. It
Yeah,
works.
definitely works. Definitely. Definitely. So obviously with the business, you've mentioned one thing there, sort of a word of advice. If there was one bit of advice you could give anybody, no matter what type of business it is that they're going into business that you now know today, what would that bit of advice be?
Treat every customer with the same level of respect, no matter whether they're somebody who lives on your street or they're a millionaire. Treat them with the same due diligence and respect,
Yep.
and treat everybody equal, because people appreciate that.
Yep.
And that's what gets you the work. If you turn up at somebody's house and he's only got a little Corsa and he's only going to pay me so much, well, I'm not really bothered. You've got to treat them as though it's a Ferrari. Treat
Yep.
them as though it's a Ferrari,
Yep.
and do the best you can.
Yep.
And you can't go far wrong.
No, to be honest, sometimes you can make a big mistake by thinking they've just got to afford a Ford Escort or a Vauxhall Corsa or whatever. It's surprising how easy it is to make that mistake. And that person that's got that car could actually have a great deal of money, but that's just maybe the lifestyle that they live in, a cheap house. They look the way they are, but they've maybe got pots of money, and you've just got to be very, very, very careful. I mean, I remember somebody in a Mercedes dealership one day went in, stank. It was a very wealthy man, very, very, very wealthy, our lad, and went in, and he stank from top to bottom, and he was in rags, and he looked like a tramp, and he sounded like a tramp, and he stank almost like a tramp would stink. And he went into this Mercedes dealership, and he wanted to buy 4 brand new, top of the range Mercedes cars. I'm talking like 130, 140,000 pound each.
Yep.
The salesman just turned around and laughed at him and said, "Yeah, right. Of course you are. Who do you think I am? I'm the best racing driver in the world, mate." He said, No, I'm serious. I'd like to buy some cars. I want to buy them. I'll pay you cash. Yours over there. Off you, Todd. I'll go and see somebody else. Tried to see another salesman. Same effect. Laughed at him in the face and just said, "Look, if you could please leave the building. You do smell, and I'd rather you leave the building because it's off-putting to our other clients." Guy went back a few weeks later, brought all 4 vehicles with him with 4 members of his family, turned up in 4 Ferraris.
Wow.
And said, "Now can I see the salesman?" All dressed in his suit, all of them in their suits, went outside and said, "Now come outside and look at the cars we've bought. I just wanted the Mercs as my runarounds. These are my toys."
Wow. Yeah.
He said, "But I tell you what, I've now bought those 4 Mercs from another dealership. Not from yours, and I'll never be back here ever again. And tell so-and-so, your dealership principal, who happens to know me and is good friends with me, you deserve to be fired, and so does that man over there."
Absolutely. No, that's a good story. I mean, I've got a similar one. I know a guy, and he owns. We used to own a metal recycling and cardboard recycling business on a very, very small scale. When he first started, really small scale. Anyway, got a call one weekend from a little old lady in York, and can you? I've got some few boxes. Can you come? This is before we had recycling centres and everything. Can you come and just take a few boxes away for us? And he was thinking, "Oh God, here we go." But anyway, he went on the weekend, collected it all up and everything, took it back, thought nothing of it. And before he left, she says, "Oh, my son works in recycling, and I'll pass him on your number." And he said, "Oh, right, oh, thank you very much." He went away thinking, yeah, whatever, yeah, it's going to come to nothing. Yeah, I've heard this before. Anyway, Monday morning comes, phone rings, and it was the buying department at Nestle, or Rowntree's as it was back then.
Oh my Lord.
And we've got yes, I gather you picked up some cardboard from my mother this week, and you do recycling. Yes, we do. Well, we've got about 4, not sheds, 4 warehouses full of cardboard and more that need recycling.
Jesus Christ.
And that what kept him going, and that what turned him into a millionaire. And he never ever looked back after that. And he always told me, he says, never underestimate or never look somebody and think, "I know that you haven't got any money," because you just never ever know.
No,
You never know
don't.
what it can lead to, and you don't know who people know.
Yeah.
So just treat everybody with the greatest respect.
Never judge a book by its cover. It's like with the guy that got me into this from when I lived down south. You wouldn't have thought he had two halfpennies to rub together, and he sounded like he was constantly drunk. It was only because he had a stroke. So he sort of thought with a bit of a third voice all the time. And it just, even when we got stopped by the police, they would insist I drive because they thought he was drunk. And people just didn't think he had two halfpennies to rub together. They used to own 9/10 of Knightsbridge.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's, you're not just talking millions of pounds of property. You're talking billions of pounds of property.
Billions. Absolutely.
And you just wouldn't think he had two halfpennies to rub together. And, you know, his father was the first person to receive a television broadcast from John Logie Baird at his one-bedroom flat at the Skindles Hotel in London.
Oh, wow.
You know, and it's like his father was the first person to ever invent a holder for the pound coin when it came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, and it was what started the revolution of pound coin holders and things, you know. And they had electrical shops all across southern England. They were the first company to have a multi-chain of electrical shops across southern England or in the whole of the country. Valve for the radio invention. And I mean, very, very well-to-do people. But you wouldn't have thought this guy had two halfpennies to rub together. He used to use baling twine as a belt.
Right.
But he could go out and buy any amount of Rolls Royces he wanted.
Yeah. You just never know. As you say, you just never know by somebody's appearance. You know what is behind that person.
Yep.
So a good lesson learned for everybody. That
it is. Yeah, it is. You should never judge a book by its cover. That's for sure. Definitely, because you never know who you're dealing with at the end of the day, or you know, and it's not just who you're dealing with, but it's also who they know as well. That's the thing.
I think that is that is as important, because it's what one job can lead to. You know, one little job that, you know, I only got a little bit for that. It was a pain in the arse and everything else, but it's what that person thinks you, and who they pass on the information to, and and spreading the word, and then all of a sudden you start to become very busy.
Well, a few boxes of cardboard with an old lady makes you a millionaire. Amazing, isn't it?
Says it all.
Definitely. So there we go. I think that was great. So that was Richard. Richard, tell us about all your social media and website. How do people get hold of you?
If you'd like to log onto our website, it's www.yqvehiclevaleting.com. That's Q as in QUEUE. And all our detailing services, caravans, motorhomes, cars, services are on there. My wife runs the business alongside with me, and she'll be happy to take any questions you may have. So look forward to receiving some more motorhome inquiries in the future.
Yeah, hopefully we'll do. Yeah, we'll put obviously all your links in the bio that we create, obviously for Spotify and everything else. So they'll all be there so everybody can find you. So that is Richard Lister from just south of York, north of Hull in East Yorkshire. So thank you very much, Richard. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you tonight.
Brilliant. Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.